Hi, girly. Hi, girly. Get licking, girly. Well, of course, guys, we're surrounded by smoke again. Some pretty bad things going on. Sounds like something happened down in the town of Weed, California. It's just south of here, and I have a lot of logging customers that, you know, they depend on that mill. They haul their timber in there. It's the livelihood of this area, you know, the mills and all this stuff is, you know, and it's just sad to see what happened. I mean, that mill in Weed sounds like it burnt completely down, and that's a big mill. So anyway, thoughts and prayers go to all those people down there that have lost their houses and lost their livelihoods and everything like that. I don't know exact circumstances of what happened there, but I guess there's fire over here on the other side between Ball Mountain and Goose Nest. So anyways, and then I went to Lakeview yesterday morning, and I was coming back, and I could see the smoke when I come over Quartz Mountain, and then I knew it was over towards this area, but I couldn't tell because Quartz Mountain, when you're coming over the top there, it's quite a ways. You're probably, what, 50 miles from Klamath. So, and you're probably another 35 from here. It's a good 85 miles, but it's just kind of hard to tell where the smoke's coming from. Anyway, by the time I got over here, I had to come clear back to the valley, and I put that fan clutch in that 7830 last night, and then I had a T8 300 New Holland that had a hydraulic leak, and I couldn't even believe that they called me for that. The Pioneer end, the male end on the end of the hose was loose. I took 2 crescent wrenches, tightened up, said, there you go. Anyway, I guess I shouldn't be complaining about that. I guess every once in a while a guy needs an easy one, but it's kind of blows my mind sometimes, the helplessness of some of these people. But I should have put that together yesterday, but before I forget, okay, and I forgot the other day on my first video after coming back from Alaska on my vacation. Okay, let me tell you a little story. Me and my wife, we were flying out whatever morning we left. We had to fly out from Medford, which is an 1.5-hour drive from here, and we had to fly out at like 4 in the morning to go to Seattle to get on the plane to go to Alaska. So me and her always just go to Texas Roadhouse in Medford and eat dinner. And so I walk in there with her, and we get our seat, and this guy comes walking up, and he says, hi, my name's Ernie, and I watch your channel on YouTube, and he said, it's really nice to meet you, and he said, I don't want to bother you, you're eating, but I just wanted to come over here and say hi. And I thought, okay, thanks, appreciate it, you know. And we went on ahead and ordered our meal and ate dinner, and got ready to leave, and he walked by, and he'd walked by and already ate and left and went home or whatever. And we're sitting there eating dinner, and we get done eating, and I said, I need to check, please. And the waitress, she comes up and says, and trust me, that was probably a good over $100 bill in there for dinner, because we had drinks and we had dessert and we had the whole 9 yards. And she says, no, Ernie from RB Brown Trucking paid for your meal. I just couldn't believe it, you know. So Ernie, hey man, I need to return the favor someday, buddy. So thanks to Ernie, that was pretty cool. So all right, guys, so story on the water truck is I got to change this left front airbag, and then we got to get our ass out there to those swathers. This guy, first time customer, I was actually looking for a 6170R in a field with a rototiller, and I was driving around looking for it, and he pulled off the highway out there at Red Rock and saw me and said, do you work on trucks? He's up here, I guess they're working on the road up here. I said, yeah, I can change your airbag, but I'm not doing it today. You're gonna have to park it here. But then he called me last night, and said that he thinks he's gonna have this truck on this fire that's going on, so he's in a panic mode now, of course. So here I am. I'm gonna get this done for him this morning, because I really didn't intend on doing this morning. I was gonna get to I gotta get those swathers and the bell wagons and all that stuff. It's so hot, the hay is going really fast, so I gotta get my ass in gear and get both of those swathers back together. So, while we're bullshitting here, Dan's bell wagon, okay, went back over there. Remember, that was the one with the range sensor, the digital range sensor on the transmission. Had the Allison. That I was skeptical on because it wasn't throwing any codes, okay? Those have an Allison to kind of refresh you, since maybe somebody's watching this video that didn't watch the video where I was explaining the whole situation. That 9880 New Holland bell wagon's got a mechanical Iveco engine in it with I'm not sure if it's a 1000 or 2000. It's either a 1000 or 2000 series Allison. It looks like the same exact transmission that's in a Chevy Duramax, you know. And it's the newer style Allison with the IMS internal mode switch. And it's inside. Let's see, what are we doing here? Do we really need to take... That's huck riveted onto the frame. I don't see that new airbag comes with a bracket, but I don't see no sense in changing that. Because that's not bolted, that's huck riveted to the frame, and I'm not dicking with that. So, anyway, let's just take the one bolt out here in the top. Where was I at with my story? So anyway, it was, there's no check engine light or nothing on that. The only thing electronic on that whole machine is that transmission. And I have a Texas unit, and it communicated with it and everything, but I don't know, it wasn't throwing any codes. It wasn't acting right, you know, so I was a little skeptical. And I told him, I said, usually when the range inhibited thing comes on those Chevy pickups, on the Duramaxes, which I have quite a bit of experience on, I said it's usually that stupid range sensor, but I said it's not throwing a code. But the only thing is, I said if I was using my Autel unit on a pickup, I know, you know, with 100% certainty that I could diagnose it correctly, because I know my software would be compatible and read it right. So we gotta go change this out, so this shouldn't be too bad. Anyway, so he said, let's just pull it out of there and test it. We tried to bench test it, and really wasn't really coming up with 100% positive results. He said, well, let's just get one of those. We already got it out. So anyway, nobody in Lakeview had one. I found one at AutoZone in Klamath that had it in stock. They were the only ones that had one. And went back over there yesterday morning. Josie, get out of the road. That is a no-no, girly. You gotta stay here. You gotta know where you're supposed to be. And crescent wrench. So went back over there. Of course, my intuition was right. I was really skeptical that it wasn't going to fix it. Well, that did not fix it. So I'm going to tell you something that has a mechanical engine there with a manual throttle cable going to an injection pump. And what Allison was doing, they're using the turbine speed sensor for basically engine speed. And what happened is somebody had changed it. Now, the owner, he just bought this bell wagon, and it came from Arizona. And he said, we haven't messed with anything on there. But what the problem was, and the only way I figured it out, it was Dan told me that his operator, if he was really quick about it, he could start it and get it into reverse or drive real quick. And that kind of threw the light bulb on in my head, and I said, that's engine RPM. It's seeing RPM. I said, the idle's turned up too high. I went back there and adjusted the idle down. It was running at about 1100 RPM on idle, and I adjusted it down to about 900. and the thing goes right into gear. So it was seeing too much turbine speed sensor, you know, RPM, and it would not let it go into gear. So that's why it wasn't throwing a code, because there was really nothing. But you know what was kind of odd about that whole situation was that I unplugged the big connector where it goes into the back, you know, right behind the oil pan on those Allisons, that big connector for the valve body, the external one. I unplugged that, and it didn't throw any codes at all. None. So that was kind of strange. I thought, well, that was kind of leading me. I thought, well, man, usually that's an indication of a bad controller, but then you don't really know, maybe maybe is your scan tool reading correctly. That's the thing. Okay, good. Things might work out here. Damn it. I gotta get over there, and I got a full day just to working on that haying equipment over there. Okay, let's go stick this thing back in there. It's got a nut on the bottom. I don't see one. You know, sometimes you can unhook the leveling valve and then use the leveling valve to air up the suspension even more and pull them up. But as rotten as those bags look, I don't really want to do that. It's a little sketchy, guess you could say. Okay, what happened to the socket? I am missing, there it is. So I got it started in the top here. Don't want to go all the way tight. I got a bar under here, so let's see if we can, now that it'll stay still on the top, let's see if we can get the bottom worked in. Alright, man, that is a stiff airbag, that new one is. Wow. Crop duster. Okay. So now we gotta take the zip ties off, and all the air is gonna come out of the suspension. And hook it back up, and then air it back up, and then we'll go do something else. So yeah, I gotta cut these zip ties off, and probably gonna have to just splice the line. I just gotta hook it into here, and that's pretty much it for this whole job. Not much to it. Okay, so back over at these swathers. This one over here is one with all the gear train damage, and go to mowerdisc.com. John Deere wanted $450 a piece for these gears. Got them for half the price at mowerdisc.com. Comes with the bearing, the gear. We got 9 gears. Here's all these, the drive gears. And then I got a whole set of turtles for this whole header here. So John Deere, just for the gears, without even this right here, that's not even including the bearings and the turtles, almost wanted $10,000 for those gears right here. So I got the turtles, the gears, all the bearings for $6,100. So they're over in Pennsylvania, so which was perfect because I was gone on vacation anyway. So when I got back, the parts were here. So anyways, we're not working on this one right now. Josie's working on this one. Are you working on this one, sis, huh? Oh, good Lord, you need chest rubs. You need chest rubs. You need chest rubs is what you need. You just need some big pink belly rubs. Yes. Oh, yes. I wish I had more time to play with you, because I would. I'd rather play with you than work on this green shit all day. Where's Duke at? Dukas? Where is he? He likes to hide in the hay barn. He likes hiding in the hay barn. I don't see him there. Where's Dukas at? His name's Duke. I just call him Dukas. Duke? Okay, we've located Duke. Josie's won't leave him alone. Yeah, he'll tune her up in a little bit. He's like, yeah, keep messing around. Mess around. Pretty soon you won't be around. You're getting shit all in your water. Ding dong. Anyway, well, this one here was the one that was plugging up. And the flights, this is what they call a flight. On the auger, the flights were gone. They were worn out. And so the hay was getting in between here and the auger and plugging the header up and making the belt slip. Would you leave that poor guy alone? She's very talkative. So this side, I've got this one cut off, the remnants of it anyway. And it kind of has to go in there a certain way. That way, the way that's bent here lines up. This is where the end, the rounded off portion went. I actually, to be completely, that's the first one I've ever done on one of these swathers, and I actually got that one turned around, but it'll work, it'll be fine. The day I did that one, it was a long day, let's just put it that way. That was the first day I got back from vacation, and I pulled like an 18-hour day, and I did that at the end of the day, and it was one of those deals where I got it halfway welded on, and I looked at it and said, you screwed that up, dipshit. We'll just keep going, it'll be okay. Anyway, I got this one right because I had a fresher frame of mind. And anyways, you got to cut these in half. I talked to a couple guys that have done these, and they said that the only way you could do it with the auger in there is cut them in half. So I got this half in position where I want it. We're going to fire the welder up. I'm going to have to heat it a little bit and beat it over to get it welded to this. It's not quite. I think I took a little bit much off of that with a torch. This end here ended up pretty good, but I can get the welder fired up and we'll weld this one in there. Wonder, well, it's hot. Damn it. While it's hot, I might be able to. I think it's going to require a little bit of heat. Yeah, I have to put a little heat on it. Okay. Gonna put a little bit of heat on there. and just whack it and bend it over to that, and then we'll weld it to that. Okay, that'll work. Alright, so this one here should be able to go in the field and cut hay again. See, these turtles need to be replaced. I mean, that'll get by for now, but see, they're worn out too. But we got the flights welded in on the auger, so she shouldn't be plugging up here all the time. I think we can close these guards, and these boys can cut hay with this one. This one should be okay now. That happened. Hang on a second. Hang on, Josie, we gotta get this. And you watch, this son of a bitch will sit here for a week before they start cutting, and they were calling me every single day, you know, and then they'll sit here for a week before they cut. It is what it is. I knew I had to get on this one over here. This one's going to be time consuming. That's their tools they left here, so anyway. Okay. Josie Puddin' Pops. Everything's copacetic here, I think. Alright. I believe. Close this guard. This swather here can go cut hay whenever they decide that they're going to do it. Alright, well, I guess we'll get started on the other one. What do you think, huh? I just think you're just the best thing since sliced bread. I just think you're the best thing since sliced bread, baby. Yep, you're great. I'd rather be around you than about 99.9% of the population. Okay, so what we gotta do here is Josie Puddin' Pops. We gotta disassemble the rest of these. Because I know the damage stopped here. I rotated it all the way around, but I want to just make sure, and oh yeah, I was going to replace all the bearings. That's what I was going to do. You know, one thing that I neglected to do was some of these had the bolts worn out. I need to call John Deere. I'm gonna look up those bolts and get a few of those. But we can get going on it. We can get a lot done this weekend on it. I I think we'll get pretty much most of it done this weekend, if not all of it, so in one shape or form. But we still got a lot of work to do with the same thing with this one. We got to get these cut off, cleaned up. I mean, that's time consuming. It really is. See how this hay's plugging up in here? It's because they're worn off here and they're gone. So we'll remedy that situation. You know, and this is the kind of stuff that, you know, that didn't wear out this year. That's the kind of stuff that they should be bringing these things into the shop in the wintertime and going through the whole headers and making sure you're ready to go that spring. You're not doing this stuff in the middle of the busy season. So, proper planning prevents piss poor performance. So the last module, this is each section they call it a module, okay? I've got to go in the shop over there. Look at that bearing there. And I've got a lot of parts in there from Deere as well. But this thing is going to be time consuming here and quite a project. See these bolts here? I need to... the other ones I actually hit the air hammer and I got them to break loose, and then I just twisted them out with a pair of pliers. But we've got to get that off, and we got to get this apart. This one's got a good gear in it. This was the last module I pulled off, and it had good gear train in it. So I'm just gonna, for now, what I'm gonna start doing is rebuilding all these modules that are here. I got to go get all these, look at all the bearings and stuff. That's the reason I wanted to go the rest of the way down the line here, because I mean I got to where this turned smooth here, and I rotated this all the way around, and I don't see any material back in here, so that I kind of think that's where it stopped. But I want to change all the bearings. I got enough bearings for this drive bearing here underneath the turtles, and then I got new bearings for the gears as well. So but we'll start doing the modules. I got to get all this material cleaned out here on these modules, and I'll put them back in the order in which they came. So I'll start on this one first, and once I get it cleaned up, I mean, I'm not as worried about this stuff here. I'm not too worried about that. The part that I'm worried about would be the you know, makes you nervous if this stuff's gonna be wearing through and create issues, you know. They gotta really, you know, they gotta keep an eye on their guards. You know, and that's the thing. All the guards need to be changed on this thing. All these, every one of these needs to be changed. They're all worn out. And when you let them get like that, then what happens is it starts wearing into the modules on there, so it's just not good. So I actually am going to call over there and get them. I mean, there's no sense in doing this half-assed with the amount of money that they've spent on these. So I'm going to go ahead. I didn't even think about that, but I'm going to call in there and see if they got those. I'm going to replace these. They're worn out, and replace the... Oh yeah, they're razor thin, the shoes are. What do these look like? Boy, you can spend a lot of money on one of these damn things. I mean, you got daylight showing on these. I mean, this whole header is shot. I mean, it needs to be rebuilt. We got a lot of work here to do, guys. A lot of work. Okay. Read the book last night and didn't see anything about directional on these. They're not offset or anything. Okay, new seals. There's a top seal and a bottom seal. I got new O-rings on those. Okay, what's that feel like? Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I already did one. I'm going to take all of these and load them up in the Ranger that I hauled all the turtles in, or the modules in, and we'll go take all these apart and start going through those. Okay, so first thing you got to do on these drives is pop the gear out. The damaged gear. Not big. Jody's like, man, I'm bored. Okay, finally. There it goes. Always kind of stand to the side when I'm pressing on stuff and something blows up. Okay, there's that piece out. Now there's this big snap ring that I pulled out here. Beat that up a little bit, but that shouldn't affect anything really. And then I had this piece of plate. I think it's going. Nice little press. I like this little press. Better shape than my old worn out press. Okay, there goes that. That one's disassembled. And do the other ones. Okay, this is a double bearing. You don't disassemble this. I'm just putting them in like they came out, and this do not assemble wider surface area was on the top where the snap ring was, and all the other ones I took apart. And that fits pretty good right there. Come a little bit centered on it. Take this piece of plate right there. Yeah, should pop a little bit. Okay. You know what I got to do that I forgot? I got to go get the snap ring and put in there, because when you flip it over and you push the gear in, it'll shove the bearing back out, and the snap ring needs to hold it when you press the gear in. Okay, so there's an O-ring here. That O-ring actually sits in this little groove. Probably have to make sure it's clean. Made in China. Oh, come on, stay on there. Be good to me. Come on, you bastard. Alright, when I took these apart, the little notch was, there's a notch here and there's a notch here, and these were all right here. Okay. And 4 bolts, tighten that up, and then of course, you know, as far as I go, I was doing things the easy way, and I just zipped the one bolt out and took the whole turtle and the whole 9 yards off is what I did. So I gotta disassemble all that and put the new turtles on. We got a long ways to go. And don't forget this seal. This is very important. I'll try to find it. There's a rounded end and a square end. I think that should suffice. Put the bolts in this one, and then I got 1, 2, 3, 4 more on the back to do, and then I still got the other half of that to pull off and do. You know, so I'll be over here all day tomorrow too. You'll notice that the very left drive one, of course, it's only going to have one driven gear in it. There's nothing here. It's just got a plug in it to seal the hole off. But you'll notice something a little bit different as well. Here's one of the intermediate ones. See how this one's got a tapered gear? This one's got a straight cut gear. It's different. And then this housing's a little bit different as well, it looks like. I don't know, it might be the same. No, it doesn't have the same offset. You can definitely tell. Well, it might. But I know one thing for certain. It doesn't go in the same way. It goes. I marked it when I pulled it out. I drew a line with some soapstone. You can barely see it now. It goes like the soapstone goes to the front. Because if you put it the other way, it won't turn. So yeah, that's a little bit different than all the rest of them. Well, I'm sure the drive one on this side is probably, there's a right and left drive side, so this one on this side is probably different too. Here you gotta pull this basket off. I don't know if I can, you know, the other one I pulled the drive line clear out of it and everything. I wonder if I can get these just up high enough where I can get the turtle off the top and then deal with it. I don't know. We'll see. Tomorrow's another day. I got a good hour. Just I got to go put their pressure washer up, and then of course all my stuff, and roll all my leads up and lock their shop up. So I got a good hour of putting stuff up. So well, we'll make this a reassembly part 1, I guess.